It has been only a week, and John was now used to walking back home alone, late at night. Although he was new to the town, he was lucky enough to get a job so quick at the old bar and a house towards the outskirts of the town. Still wrapped in its medieval beauty and the half timbered houses along the cobbled lanes, Ray was a place for John's new beginnings. After his only aunt passed away, he was left all alone. Being extremely superstitious and scared to be haunted down by his strict aunt, even after her death, compelled him to leave his house and even leave London and made him travel down to Ray. Getting exhausted and barely enough to walk, John would every day still walk alone down the desolate street to be welcomed in his empty house. But the night was a little different. It was dark and stormy, and it was also the eve of Halloween. John had made sure to leave an hour early, but the sudden storm and rain had already delayed him, even an hour than the usual.
Almighty, please protect me. Why does it need to rain on Halloween's Eve only? Now, how am I supposed to go home? And how these customers are discussing about the weird tales. Don't they understand? Don't they know whom they are talking about? They could be right here beside them, even listening to them. Oh my god. No, no, no.
And thinking all of this, he sneakily grabs the salt bottle from the bar as he thought it could keep away any supernatural creatures at bar. The rain had only got worse and soaked to the bone while walking down the same desolate street with the strong howling cries of the wind. Raindrops feeling like piercing ice, the rustling of leaves, and all sorts of superstitious tales he had heard at the bar was sending chills down his back. While walking down the lane, when he was just about to turn the corner, he heard another footsteps splashing water, and soon he turned around under the dim street light on the other end of the lane. He saw someone, or rather something completely wrapped in all black, walking towards him. The rain was not too heavy, but was quite enough to help not figure out things properly. Yet, turning all pale and almost freezing to death, he tried to get hold of the salt bottle in his pocket, which was already damp. The figure was still moving towards him, and this made John finally spun around, almost falling, but soon regaining his composure somehow, only to start running. It has almost been an hour since John was running, but now the only thing he wanted was to get out of the rain and the maze of lanes he was lost in. Yes, he was far away from that figure as well as far away from his house. But he cannot stop walking now. He cannot let the figure catch him or let himself die on the lanes in the freezing weather. His feet were aching and his body was craving for the little warmth he could gain if only he could go back home. Coming to a standstill, he found his surroundings to be almost deserted except one old house. At the end of the lane, he kept walking towards it.
Thank heavens. Thank heavens. Oops. I hope the figure is no more following me.
But at second glance, his relief was washed away by the look of the place. It was dark, and the only street lamp casting a dim yellow light on the sad features of the house. It was an old two-story building, a little broken and unkept, with its front yard tangled with overgrown weeds and vines, and a pathway lined with broken stones that lead to the house. He was scared to walk up to the house for a shelter, but then the weather was even not helping. Gathering up his shattered courage, he somehow went up to the door, still hesitant whether to stay there or walk some miles more to more sober place for shelter. He finally knocked. Normally, when someone knocks so late at night, the uninvited guest has to wait at least for some time before the door opens. But this dame was so quick that it made him jump.
I think she would be around 65 or 70. But what a warm smile she has. Hi, I, I am John Lawrence, and
Please come in. The weather has been really bad today, and you are completely drenched.
She stepped aside, holding the door wide open for John to enter. She seemed terribly nice, and John had never met such a motherly figure. His aunt was too strict, and he used to fear her rather than respect. He almost forgot about the figure and him being lost. The desire to follow the lady into the house was extraordinarily strong, and soon he found himself entering the house. John was a bit startled, but looking at the pale round face and a pair of calm blue eyes, he felt a little less scared.
I am really sorry to disturb you this late. Actually, I am new to the town and have lost, unfortunately, my way tonight in the rain. It would be really grateful of you if I could just stay here for the night. I promise to pay you a handsome rent and not cause you any trouble.
It's all ready for you, my dear, and I would really be happy to give you a shelter for the night. You see, it isn't very often that I have the pleasure of having a visitor. And for the rent, though it is not at all necessary, but 5 pence is more than enough for me. But you can totally skip it if you want.
No, 5 pence is alright. Thank you so much for letting me stay here for the night.
I think you should change, dear. You can catch a bad cold otherwise. Please follow me.
Do you live here all by yourself?
My husband is upstairs, a little busy with his masterpieces, but I am always ready. Everything here is always ready, day and night, just on the off chance that an acceptable young visitor will come along, like you.
On reaching the first floor, she guided him through the corridor to the second flight of stairs towards the guest room. But while she was walking ahead of him, a slight speck of light coming from a room and a whiff of a peculiar smell, like a new leather or a hospital corridor, caught John's attention. He peeped inside to find a man like figure on the chair, sitting at the table with a dim lamp glowing. The man had his back towards John, and due to the dim light, it was really difficult to figure out anything more than just his build. John suddenly felt a tap on his shoulder. Startled, he spun around to come face to face with the lady.
He is my husband, a little busy now. He actually doesn't like any kind of odd disturbances while working, you see.
John was soon standing in front of a small cozy bedroom where the lady had already placed a fresh set of clothes ready for him on the bed and lighted the gas fire for him to feel warm and cozy.
I'm really grateful for all of this.
I do hope you will like it. And what about your supper, dear? Do you want anything?
Not a bit hungry. Thank you. But it would be really helpful if I could just get anything warm to drink.
I am downstairs in the hall. You can come as soon as you finish changing. I would light the fireplace and prepare my special tea, and we will have a talk only if you would want, or we can keep that for the breakfast table.
Rubbing his hands, John finally sat down on the soft bed, exhausted by the events of the night. But before he could be gripped by slumber, he suddenly was reminded of his wet clothes that were now almost dried. He got changed quickly, and carrying the candle from the bedside table, he went downstairs to the hall, where the lady was already seated by the fireplace waiting for him. She greeted him instantly and asked to sit by the fire opposite to her so that they could share a conversation. She placed his teacup on the table in front of him. John picked it up and started sipping. She too did the same. For a minute or so, both were quietly enjoying the warmth of the place and the tea. But John slowly started feeling uncomfortable when he saw her looking continuously at him, even over the rim of her teacup. He started looking across the room to avoid any eye contact. Soon he noticed a cat curled up comfortably in front of the fire, finally breaking the silence.
You can touch it.
John had then realized the animal to be eerily motionless, and on touching its back, he could feel the hard, cold, dried, perfectly preserved skin underneath. Being slightly scared rather than fascinated, he turned away from the cat towards the old lady.
It, it must be horribly difficult to do such a thing, no?
Holding her teacup in one hand, tilting her head slightly towards the left, and giving him a gentle little smile that actually didn't reach her eyes, she said,
No, my dear. Actually, they have been quite easy, and I like to stuff all my pets myself when they pass away. Will you like to take another cup of tea?
No? Uh, then, thank you.
John didn't quite like the taste of the tea. It was faintly like bitter almonds, but he was too scared to complain.